Nothing in this podcast is intended as investment advice, and the people in this podcast may hold positions in the stocks they talk about. Do not buy any investment based solely on a tip or recommendation. Please do your own research. The Sunday Roast presents 12 Stocks for the 12 Days of Christmas. Merry Christmas, everyone. Thank you for listening.
Hello and welcome to the 12 Stocks for the 12 Days of Christmas. Today we're joined by Leon Coetzer, CEO of Jubilee Metals. Merry Christmas, Leon.
Oh, thank you, Phil, and Merry Christmas to you.
Cheers, yeah. Let's have a look at some of the key milestones and achievements for Jubilee Metals in 2023. So you secured one of the largest copper waste rock assets and surface in Zambia, and in addition with the Mufulira slag project, achieved record production across PGM, chrome and copper operations, 1,289,000 chrome concentrate tons and 2,923 copper tons, up 29%. Implemented a £36 million investment program to diversify and expand operations in chrome, PGM, copper and cobalt. Commissioned an expanded PGM processing facility capable of processing tailings and ores with an annual production capacity of 44,000 ounces of PGMs. Improved infrastructure at the new Rowan concentrator, including a modern water system and enhanced power infrastructure. Financial-wise, revenue increased by 1% to £142 million, with a gross profit of £31 million and EBITDA of £24.8 million. Lots going on there, Leo.
Yeah, there is enormous amount going on, Phil, but it also shows a company that's maturing through its capital investment programs. It's why South Africa, the chrome business you touched on, is a mature business with its ability to fund its own growth. Of course, as it continues to grow, we've got aspirations to grow well beyond the numbers you've mentioned. And then you've touched on it in copper. It's all about first investing to then lay the ground for that next growth phase that we expect our copper business to deliver in the coming year.
Yep, Merry Christmas to you, Leon. All I've seen this year is good news after good news in terms of what's come out. Obviously, during the year, we had the problems, if you like, with the water and the electricity, both in Zambia and South Africa. But I think we can safely say from what you've told us before in other interviews that we've put those problems behind us now. We've created a modular system, which is going to be much, in my view, lighter on those systems. You're not all out or all in. You're basically in and out if there is any problem. So what are your thoughts on that going forward?
Critical points you've raised, Kevin. You know, when you operate in the jurisdictions you have to adjust to the challenges that are faced. You have to find solutions. One of the critical challenges we faced in the jurisdictions we operate is infrastructure, power, water, road, logistics. You have to be able to address that. You can't simply stick your head in the ground. And yes, it's areas that we bumped our heads heavily against, probably more so in Zambia than in South Africa even. And you've touched on that solution called modular. It's a fundamental shift we've made, and I've no doubt many more companies will follow that example, where you are, instead of having a single operating localized footprint, you distribute that footprint through energy light modules that are able to process and deliver more than a singular footprint can process. It offers you the opportunity to scale modularly your operations. And South Africa is a classic example of that success, where our chrome numbers, as impressive as they are, chasing nearly 1.5 million tons of product for this financial period, it's coming through 8 operating modules. To expand that to 2 million tons, which is our aspirational target, means we add 2 more modules. It's not one big bang theory. No one module is exposed to the same infrastructural challenges, as you've said. So it's not all on or all off. It allows us to make our modules equipped with its own backup power systems if necessary. And it's those lessons we've taken into Zambia. You touched on this, Phil touched on this massive resource we've secured in Zambia on this waste rock. Again, there to achieve the 20 or 25 or even 30,000 tons of copper off that asset alone, it's modular. Modular plants going onto this asset as each module brings its 4,000 tons of copper from its processing unit. It's a critical adjustment we've made in operational rollout of our footprint. And with those modules, we're able to partner so closely with the manufacturing companies to address the logistical nightmare in the new world we live in, to actually secure equipment, to actually be able to complete projects in budget during these times. Because when you're building 3 or 4 modules, each a carbon copy of the next, your supply chain can be managed far better than any other company could achieve that with a single project. It's been a fundamental lesson learned, and actually has resulted in us taking pole position in able to expand and roll out during these times we live in.
Yeah. So that, I mean, that's the project you just alluded to in Zambia, the tailings there. That's 4 years in the making, as was stated in the RNS. So that's been a lot of work required from yourself and the Jubilee team. Do you feel like that now you've got that one, finalized, that there'll be more potential coming with investment from whether it be RH or different investors? But do you feel like the next ones could roll out pretty quickly?
Oh, absolutely, Phil. In mining and in life and in metals production, you have to be significant. And this asset allows Jubilee to become a significant copper producer. That attracts interest from all quarters, from who you trade your metal with, to which global company you partner with on the next opportunity, to the scale of that opportunity. It all links to being relevant in that area, to be recognized as a company who produces significant quantities of metal through a proven track record of implementation. It just opens up a whole set of new opportunities. It means governments such as the Zambian authorities recognize you as a partner they want to see more of because of your delivery. That brings further opportunities through, whether it's through allocation of infrastructure or assisting to make sure that the administrative process doesn't get bogged down in bureaucracy. All of this culminates through being able to show your ability to become a significant producer in the space that you operate in.
So you're probably 20 years in the making. It's a well-established company, Jubilee. Do you feel like 23 has been the year that's really kind of been pivotal in terms of the development and the growth so far?
It's critical on 2 fronts. One, critical on the lessons we had to learn. Some tough lessons we had to learn during 2023. Tough lessons to realize that in Zambia, as a classic example, our Rowan project initially being delayed, being unable to deliver what we said it would, frustrated by its ability to actually have consistent, reliable infrastructure and having to adjust to that. But then coming up with a solution that don't only adjust to it, but actually again puts us at an advantage to any other competitors. And yes, you are right. South Africa coming to full fruition, delivering chrome concentrates, where we're in the world's top 3 producers of the product, all from materials that people had overlooked, and adding further potential growth. Zambia, critical for us to have those anchor resources onto which we deploy our knowledge, our processing ability. In this year, delivering Mufulira slag, which is the premier project within the previously processed waste. And then you bring on our latest waste rock resource, which is material that was rejected, never processed before. So we're sitting with the 2 premier resources in both classes, thanks to the work we've done over the past in 2023. So it perfectly poises us for actually delivering the growth beyond the expectation in copper in Zambia that we had worked so hard on.
Yeah, and we mustn't forget these projects don't happen overnight either. Obviously, 4 years in the making, and now I would imagine a 12-month at least rollout system of modular parts, if you like, in this. So, from a time scale point of view, when do you think you will be at sort of full production of this rock situation? Are we talking about you'll be able to have 3 or 4 within 6 months? Is it going to take 12 months? It's going to take 18 months? Well, when do we see these things happening?
Well, that's the beauty of having modular plants being pre-designed, pre-negotiated with our manufacturing lines. Our manufacturing capacity, with our partners' manufacturing capacity, is to produce 4 such modules within 6 months. That's their capacity to roll these out. It's not years of construction and building. Assembly, once constructed in South Africa and transported to Zambia. Assembly of these plants is a 6-week process. So you can see that within a 8-month process, you can have 4 operating modules already. These 4 operating modules comfortably are being able to reach the 20,000 tons copper, but we can put down 6 modules within 12 months, as an example, to breach 30,000 tons of copper. That's the ability and the speed at which this can be rolled out into Zambia. So the shareholders and our investors can fully expect to see the updates on the design, the construction pipeline, the assembly in Zambia, and the rapid commissioning of these modules that follows the initial evaluation of the waste rock and the design period.
What we mustn't forget in that situation is all the way along that process, you're making money.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this is in addition to what we are doing. This is in addition to what we said we are commissioning and bringing on stream for this year. This is not this doesn't replace that. This is on top of that. It's on top of our expansion of our chrome and naturally our PGM footprint to absorb all that discard coming from our chrome operations. It's on top of the expansion of our Rowan operation and our Sable refinery expanding its copper production rates. This is all in addition to that.
Yeah, I think I'm going to rename you as a mini Jubilee Major, because I think that's basically where you're headed. I think you're going to become not the recycler is the wrong word, but the reclamation major. So you are going to become a much bigger entity because these major companies have big issues that they have to resolve. Otherwise, it's going to cost them a lot of money to do this.
Yes.
So why can they not reclaim and make money at the same time? And this is the proposition that you're offering them, and it's very, very interesting. Yes.
Yeah, it is, Kevin. I mean, it's with this transaction we announced early on this waste rock dump. It also gives a commercial formula on how to do it with the big major players out there, and it's boundaryless. It's not limited to a jurisdiction. This approach, this modular approach, gives the sense to many corporates on how we can de-risk the solution. And of course, we now have the track record and the backing to show how rapidly this can be deployed, which is important for these big majors to know that they are partnering with a trusted, proven partner who really knows their game, rather than so many companies claiming to want to get into this area.
Yeah, very good. And we look forward to coming out. I think probably be the end of March, early April, that we will come out and see these things both in South Africa and in Zambia, and report back to people of exactly what it is. I don't think we're going to miss 350 million tons of rocks, though.
No, nor will you walk it in the morning or an afternoon.
Yeah.
Yes.
It always reminds me of the phrase, the waste products that my dad always used to say, where there's muck, there's brass. But in this case, where there's muck, there's lots of copper.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so it's a Christmas themed podcast, of course, and my question to you is what is it? Obviously, you're based in the Southern Hemisphere, so what is a traditional Christmas in the Coetzer household?
Well, it's completely opposite to the Northern Hemisphere. There's no snow, no reindeers. It's all sun and outdoors. So definitely we don't expect to have a white Christmas. We expect to have an outdoorsy Christmas, making a fire, and hopefully, as you call it, barbecuing some meat.
Braai. We have the braai.
The braai on.
With the, I'm gonna murder the pronunciation. What's the sausage? Boerwurster? What's it called?
Boerewors.
Boerewors. Okay, boerewors. It's a sausage. Okay, and a tremendous tasting sausage as well in a big circle. Okay, so my question is, which is probably a strange question for you, but what is the most exotic place or situation you've ever found yourself in on Christmas or at Christmas?
I suppose if I turn back this clock, it certainly isn't exotic, but very unexpected. If we turn this clock back many, many years, as Jubilee is, we had the concept and the dream that we were going to pursue. We were 4 employees in this company, and we ended up having an AGM on the day before Christmas. So my most unexpected, rather than exotic place to have been on Christmas was at an AGM in London.
And I bet you it was cold.
Yes, it was.
Indeed. Very good. That's not exotic at all, but yes. Very
I was
good.
expecting you to say you were stranded somewhere, like in the back of Beyond, and you had no one. There's a couple of you or something like that. I mean, or Barley or somewhere like that. We've not had one of those yet. We had Barley. Yeah, we have had
No,
Barley.
we had Barley.
We had
Mark
Barley,
said
yeah.
Barley. Yeah, and so we wish you luck going forward in the future. We're obviously going to see it with our own eyes in the next few months. And I mean, this is spectacular news. And let's hope that the market starts to realize, I think, the potential for profitability that you have. Because I think the one thing that really is striking me is that this is no longer becoming a capital drain on you. A lot of the other stuff that you've done, the Chrome, the PGMs, you've had to capitally or pay the capital for all of that equipment. 40, 50 million US dollars, I think it has been for the last number of years, and maybe much more than that when you upped it. But now that requirement is not going to be there in the same way. So I think your ability to rank this up or gear it up is going to be much faster. And obviously the need for copper going forward, you're going to be extraordinarily geared to the price of copper. And if copper really does start to motor as we expect, then Jubilee is going to be one of the places you need to be invested in, I think.
Thanks, Kevin. You actually summed it up really well. That's the formula that really has shifted us, is that we're not a company that is going through a tremendous growth opportunity with a massive capital burden to unlock that. That's gone within our commercial transactions we've secured. And it means that as Jubilee grow, we will be a significant holder in many projects without the capital burden to deliver that. That really is what we're pursuing. It's recognizing at our core sits our technical and operational value and skill, which is deployed into these many projects where we have a significant position in.
It's not every day you get a 30% free carry on a 2 million tons of contained copper, is it?
No, absolutely not. And especially not against the funding terms that even has been offered by our partner, when not only do you hold your 30%, but you're also the company operating, designing and managing that vehicle through which those assets are held. Absolutely.
Brilliant.
So it is probably touching on 40%, even though you can't really say it because of all of those costs.
Yeah, very much so.
Okay, we'll say on that note, Leon Coetzer, CEO of Jubilee Metals, thanks very much for your time.
Oh, thank you, guys. Thank you for the support, and hope to see you soon in the new year.
Thank you, Leon.
This podcast was brought to you by Roast PR Limited. If you would like to appear on a future episode of The Sunday Roast, please email admin@thesundayroast.net.